The Crusader Bible, a forgotten treasure of the medieval era. What if I told you that one of the most breathtaking medieval manuscripts in history was commissioned by a ruthless warrior king, a book so mysterious that it vanished for centuries, only to resurface in the most unexpected places? This isn't just any old medieval manuscript. This is the Crusader Bible, a stunningly illustrated book, dripping in gold and vivid colors, filled with violent battles, royal ambition, and deep religious symbolism. But what makes it truly fascinating? It has no text, just raw, unfiltered imagery of war, power, and faith, created at the height of the Crusades. Yet for a book so magnificent, hardly anyone talks about it. Why was it forgotten? And why does its history take us from the battlefields of medieval France to the courts of Persia? Let's unravel the mystery of the Crusader Bible, a forgotten treasure of the medieval world. Hi friends, welcome to our channel, where we dive deep into the hidden stories of history, ones that textbooks often ignore. If you love medieval history, forgotten artifacts, and controversial tales from the past, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Now let's travel back to the 13th century and uncover the secrets of the Crusader Bible. The story of the Crusader Bible begins in the 1240s with a man whose name is synonymous with war and piety, King Louis IX of France, also known as Saint Louis. He was a devout Catholic and one of the most ambitious leaders of the Middle Ages. Under his rule, France reached the peak of its power, and Louis himself became obsessed with leading the perfect crusade. It was during this period, most likely between 1240 and 1250, that he commissioned an extraordinary manuscript. Unlike typical medieval Bibles filled with text, this book contained no words at all. Instead, it told the dramatic stories of the Old Testament purely through illustrations, over 283 stunning images, painted with breathtaking detail. But why? Why create a wordless Bible filled with scenes of brutal warfare, betrayal, and divine intervention? Some historians believe it was meant as a tool for knights, a visual guide to biblical warfare, teaching them that their own battles mirrored those of the ancient Israelites. Others argue it was propaganda, reinforcing Louis IX's belief that he was chosen by God to reclaim the Holy Land. Regardless of its purpose, one thing is clear. This book was never meant to be just a religious manuscript. It was a political statement, one that would outlive its creator in ways no one could have predicted. After Louis XIX's death, the book mysteriously disappeared. For centuries, its whereabouts were unknown. Then, in the 17th century, it suddenly reappeared, but not in France. It had somehow made its way to Italy, into the hands of the powerful Medici family. From there, it was passed between European rulers, eventually ending up in the Vatican Library. But its journey didn't stop there. In the 19th century, something remarkable happened. The book was discovered again, this time in Persia of all places. But it was no longer the same manuscript that Louis X had commissioned. It had been altered. Persian inscriptions had been added to the pages, translating and interpreting the biblical scenes in a completely new cultural and religious context. How did a book created for a French Crusader king end up being studied and admired in the Islamic world? Some suggest it was looted during a war, while others believe it was sold or gifted to a Persian ruler. Whatever the case, the fact that it was preserved, annotated, and respected across cultures challenges the traditional narrative of religious conflict in the Middle Ages. It's a stark reminder that history is never as black and white as we think. Why has the Crusader Bible been forgotten? For such a remarkable artifact, why isn't the Crusader Bible as famous as, say, the Book of Kells or the Gutenberg Bible? One reason is its unusual format. Unlike traditional Bibles, which are filled with text and theological commentary, the Crusader Bible is almost entirely pictorial. This made it less useful for scholars and religious leaders, who typically relied on written scripture for study and teaching. Over time, as literacy rates increased and text-based Bibles became more widespread, the Crusader Bible became more of an artistic curiosity rather than a central religious or academic text. Additionally, because it was a royal commission rather than a mass-produced work, it never had the same level of exposure as other medieval manuscripts. It wasn't copied, distributed, or widely read. It was a unique personal artifact that remained hidden away in elite collections for most of its history. Another major factor in its obscurity is its complicated and fragmented journey. Unlike other medieval treasures that remained in one place and became iconic over time, the Crusader Bible was constantly moving, from France to Italy, then to Persia, and eventually to the United States. Each time it changed hands, it was reinterpreted, annotated, and altered, making it difficult to place within a single historical tradition. This lack of a consistent narrative meant that it never truly became a national treasure for any one culture or country. Even today, it remains a book that doesn't fully belong anywhere, viewed as a French manuscript, yet with Persian influences, housed in an American museum, and largely unknown to the public.
Perhaps the most ironic aspect of the Crusader Bible is that, despite lacking text, it tells a story more vividly than most medieval books.
Every stroke of the brush, every carefully arranged battle scene, and every gold-embellished panel reveals the world where faith and war were inseparable. Without words to dictate interpretation, the images allow for a unique and personal reading of biblical events, one that changes depending on who is looking at it. To a 13th century French knight, it may have been a call to arms. To a Persian scholar centuries later, it was a fascinating glimpse into Christian mythology. And to us today, it is a reminder that history is not fixed. It evolves as new eyes uncover its mysteries. Today, the Crusader Bible is housed in the Morgan Library and Museum in New York, where it continues to intrigue historians and art lovers alike. It stands as a testament to a time when war, religion, and art were deeply intertwined, when kings used books as weapons of influence, and when a single manuscript could travel across continents, adapting to different cultures along the way. So what do you think? Was the Crusader Bible a work of religious devotion, a medieval propaganda piece, or something else entirely?
Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into a forgotten masterpiece, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more historical mysteries. Until next time, keep questioning history, because the past is never as simple as it seems.